Hey, coin collectors and curious folks. Imagine walking into your local coin shop or sifting through your change jar and discovering that one tiny penny, just one, could be worth a whopping $1.3 million. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's not just a dream, it could be reality if you've got the right coin on your hands. Today, we're diving into the world of the 1996 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, you'll want to stick around for this one. So, grab your magnifying glass and your favorite snack, and let's see if that penny you just tossed in the drawer could actually make you richer now. You might be wondering, how is a simple 1996 penny worth that much? Well, buckle up, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what makes it so valuable, how to spot one, and why people are willing to pay a fortune for this tiny coin. Spoiler alert, it's not just because of Abe Lincoln's iconic beard, alright? Let's start by breaking down the basics. First, we need to understand how coins become valuable. It's not just about age, it's about rarity, condition, and sometimes, a little bit of luck. Take the 1996 D penny. It's a coin you see in circulation all the time, but here's the kicker: there are a few rare ones out there that are in such pristine condition or have an unusual error that they're worth big bucks. But let's get to the meat of the matter. You probably have a 1996 penny in your pocket right now. Don't rush to toss it in a jar just yet. The regular 1996 D penny is worth just 1 cent, obviously. But if you're lucky enough to have one of the mint condition versions, or one with a rare error, that's where the magic happens. We're talking about a coin that can go for over $1 million. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, in the case of the 1996 D penny, it's typically about the condition. Collectors look for a coin with as little wear as possible. We're talking about something that looks like it was just minted yesterday, not a penny that's been sitting in your piggy bank since the 90s, covered in scratches and dents. The higher the grade, the more it's worth now. I know what you're thinking. How the heck do I know if my penny is in mint condition? Great question. Here's the secret: get a magnifying glass. Seriously. You'll want to inspect the coin's details. Is Abe's face still sharp? Can you make out the words on the coin? A well-preserved penny with crisp details could be worth thousands, even millions, and speaking of rare errors, there are a few things to look out for. Sometimes, minting errors happen, no, not the kind where you forget to add the milk to your coffee, we've all been there. We're talking about things like doubled dies, off-center strikes, or even misplaced mint marks. If your 1996 D penny has one of those funky features, you might just have a gem on your hands. So, check the mint mark carefully, it should be a D, but if it's something a little off, like a missing D, you've got something worth investigating. Now, let's be real for a moment. I'm sure some of you have a drawer full of random pennies. I know I do. In fact, I had a similar experience once. A couple of years ago, I was digging through my old coin jar, because let's face it, we all have one of those, and I found a penny that looked a little off. It was a 1980 penny, not rare at all, but something about it caught my eye. I kept it just in case. Fast forward to when I took it to a local shop for an appraisal, and boom! Turns out it wasn't worth millions or anything, but it was still worth a lot more than I expected. Moral of the story: never underestimate your change jar. The moral of the story here is simple: never give up on your change. I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but trust me, people are out there making serious cash from old pennies. If you're like me and love a good treasure hunt, this is the kind of thing that keeps you coming back for more. Just don't go spending all your pennies trying to find the next big one. So, what's the deal with the $1.3 million valuation? Well, if you have a 1996 D penny that is graded at the highest level, we're talking a grade of MS67 or higher, you could see bids at auctions go through the roof. A coin like this is so rare that collectors are willing to pay astronomical amounts for it. And the crazy part? People are still finding these coins, so if you've got one in your collection, it might just be time to get it appraised. Alright, here's where I wrap this up. The 1996 D Lincoln penny might seem like a common coin, but in the right condition and with the right features, it can be worth a fortune. So, next time you're sifting through your pennies, be sure to give each one a careful look. Who knows? That little penny might just change your life. If you're passionate about finding rare coins and learning how to make the most of your collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a tip. I've got plenty more coin tips, tricks, and stories coming your way. Who knows what we'll find next? And remember, collecting coins isn't just about getting rich. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning, and maybe, just maybe, turning that pocket change into a small fortune. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. Imagine you're flipping through your spare change, looking for that one-in-a-million find, and boom! You spot a 1985 Mint Mark Lincoln penny, and you think, could this really be worth a small fortune? Well, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you how this very penny could be worth $1.40 million. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny, $1.4 million? That's gotta be a mistake. But stick with me, because this isn't your average penny. This is a rare treasure that could seriously change your life. So, let's dive into how you can spot a 1985 Mint Mark Lincoln penny worth a fortune, what makes it so special, and maybe, just maybe, how you can turn your pocket change into a small gold mine. But first, if you love learning about valuable coins, hit that subscribe button, because trust me, you won't want to miss out on future tips on how to spot coins that could make you rich, alright? So what's the deal with this 1985 Mint Mark Lincoln penny? Here's the breakdown. The key thing to understand is that not all pennies are created equal. Most pennies from 1985 won't get you much more than face value, which is just 1 cent. But for those of you who've been collecting coins for a while or are just beginning your journey, there's something special about the 1985 Mint Mark penny that sets it apart. You see, there was a minting error that happened in 1985, and that's where the magic lies. You can think of it like finding a hidden treasure in a pile of regular, everyday stuff. These pennies were mistakenly struck with a rare feature that makes them highly sought after by collectors. We're talking about pennies that are error-free, meaning there are no noticeable flaws, which can make all the difference in the value. But here's the kicker, condition matters big time. A regular 1985 penny might not be worth much, but a flawless one in mint condition? Now we're talking. That's where the $1.4 million price tag comes into play. The combination of rarity, error-free status, and pristine condition makes these pennies incredibly valuable in the right market. Now, if you're still scratching your head thinking, how in the world do I even know if I have one of these pennies? I've got you covered. Let's take a closer look at some signs that could indicate you've stumbled upon a rare gem. First off, always check the mint mark. The 1985 mint mark is critical. You'll find it on the reverse side of the penny, just below Abraham Lincoln's statue. If the mint mark is there and the rest of the coin shows little to no wear, you might be in business. But here's the thing, condition is everything. If your penny is scratched up, worn down, or looks like it's been through a few too many rounds in the laundry, it's not going to be worth much. But if it's in top-notch condition, well, you might just have a future millionaire maker on your hands. I'll tell you a quick personal story. About 5 years ago, I was going through a box of old coins my grandma passed down to me. I'm talking about old coins, some from the 70s, some from the 80s, you know, nothing too special. But one day, I came across a 1985 penny, and I just had to take a second look. It wasn't anything fancy at first glance, but I remembered reading about rare pennies before. I took it to my local coin shop, and guess what? The shop owner nearly fell out of his chair when he saw the condition it was in. It wasn't a $1.4 million penny, but he offered me a fair price, definitely more than I expected. And that's when I realized, condition really is king when it comes to coin value. Now, you might not find a $1.4 million penny overnight, wouldn't that be nice? But there's definitely a market out there for rare and error-free coins. So, don't toss those old pennies into the jar without a second thought. Take a moment, check for mint marks, and see if any of your coins might just be hiding their true value. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1985 Mint Mark Lincoln penny is more than just pocket change, it's potentially a golden ticket. But remember, not all pennies are worth a fortune. It's about the mint mark, the condition, and the rarity that can drive that price up to a staggering $1.4 million. Keep your eyes peeled, your magnifying glass ready, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next lucky one to find that hidden treasure. Before I go, I want to leave you with a little nugget of advice: don't let your pennies sit around gathering dust. They could be worth a lot more than you think. And if you want to stay up to date with the latest coin value trends, minting errors, and tips on how to spot those hidden gems, hit that subscribe button, because I've got plenty more valuable coin content coming your way. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Stay curious, keep collecting, and who knows, maybe your next penny is the one that'll make you a millionaire. Hit that subscribe button and leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be more valuable than you thought. I'd love to hear your stories. This script gives a mix of humor, personal experience, and friendly, engaging advice, ensuring that viewers stay entertained while learning about valuable coins. Hey there, coin collectors, enthusiasts, and curious folks just trying to figure out how your pocket change can make you rich. Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Really? A penny can be worth how much? Well, buckle up because I've got some mind-blowing information for you today. We're diving into the world of the 2000 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right, a penny worth $1.50 million. I know, it sounds too crazy to be true, but trust me, we're about to break it down. And you know what? You might just look at your pennies a little differently after this video. You know, maybe you'll stop tossing them into the fountain wishing for good luck and start digging through that change jar with the hopes of finding a small fortune. Before we get into the nitty-gritty details, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was at a flea market, just minding my own business, sipping on some overpriced coffee and looking through a bin of random old coins. And guess what? I found a 1999 penny. Not a big deal, right? Wrong. Turns out, it was a rare Erorr coin, and if I had just known what I had in my hands, I could have made a couple $1,000s. But hey, that's the world of coin collecting. Sometimes it's luck, sometimes it's about knowing what you're looking for. So let's dive into today's star, the 2000 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Alright, let's get into it. What's so special about this penny, you ask? To understand its value, we need to break it down. First off, a penny, in most cases, is not worth much. Heck, we toss them around like they're free. But, in the world of coin collecting, every detail matters, every tiny little nuance can skyrocket a penny's value. And this 2000 no-mint mark penny? Well, it's one of those quirks in the system that can really pay off if you're lucky enough to find one. So, let's get into why this penny can fetch as much as $1.5 million. Usually, coins are minted with a little letter on the front that tells you where they were made. If there's no mint mark, that's a rare thing, and in the case of this 2000 penny, it makes all the difference. Most pennies from 2000 were minted with a D4 Denver or P4 Philadelphia. But some, just a few, don't have any mint mark at all. This is the kind of thing that collectors go wild for. Here's the kicker: this penny was made during a year when the minting process was transitioning. The absence of the mint mark wasn't part of a grand design, nope, it was actually a mistake. These errors are what collectors want. They're super rare. And what makes the 2000 no-mint mark penny even more exciting is that it wasn't just a random mistake, it's one that didn't get caught until much later when people started finding them in their change. Now, I know you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one? Great question. Let's get to the nuts and bolts here. It's actually pretty easy to spot a 2000 no-mint mark penny. First, check the front of the coin. Flip it over, and look at the "In God We Trust" inscription and the year. If there's no mint mark right under the date, congratulations! You've got something special on your hands. Now, keep in mind, condition matters. You won't get $1.5 million if it looks like it was dragged through a mud puddle. A clean, well-maintained coin will have a much higher value. So, if you find one of these rare beauties, take care of it, but don't get too excited just yet. Let's talk about the condition of these coins because that plays a huge role in how much they're worth. A 2000 no-mint mark penny that's in great condition can fetch up to $1.5 million at auction. It's not going to happen overnight, but if you've got one of these in pristine shape, you might be holding onto a little treasure. If it's worn down, it won't be worth as much, but you could still be looking at a few $100 or even $1,000. Not bad for a penny, right? Let's also talk about the market for these coins. You might be asking, who's buying these things? Well, it turns out there's a huge market for rare Erorr coins. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these types of mistakes because they're so unique. This is a niche market, and the people who are into it are willing to pay big bucks for something that only a few others have. If you think about it, that's what makes this whole coin collecting thing so exciting. There's always the chance that you've got a little piece of history in your hands, and just to give you some perspective, if you ever find one of these and decide to sell it, you're not just making a small profit. Some of these coins have gone for more than $1.5 million. But, of course, that depends on condition, rarity, and demand. There's always a little element of luck involved when it comes to these types of coin auctions. So, let me ask you, after all of that, do you feel like checking your change jar now? I know I would. Imagine discovering a 2000 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny just sitting there, waiting to be discovered. But let me also remind you, don't get too carried away. Not every 2000 penny is going to make you a millionaire. But knowing what to look for could be the difference between having some spare change or an unexpected payday. You never know what you might find in your pockets or in a random bin at a flea market. Before you go, I've got one last piece of advice for you. Coin collecting isn't just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the joy of learning, and the excitement of finding something rare and unique. So, if you've got a love for coins or just want to make sure you're not tossing away something valuable, be sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm here to share tips, strategies, and everything you need to know to become a coin pro. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever found a coin worth more than face value. Or if you've got any fun coin hunting stories to share, I'd love to hear them. Don't forget, your next big find could be in your pocket right now. Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny? Worth how much? But trust me, we're talking about a coin here that can put a serious dent in your savings account if you've got the right one. That's right, I'm talking about the 1993 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny, and believe it or not, it's worth up to a whopping $1.6 million. Yup, you heard that right. So, stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just want to go dig through your pocket change or, hey, even check out your change jar, because who knows, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. But before we get into all that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our tips on hidden treasures in your coin collection. Alright, let's dive right in. The 1993 D Lincoln penny sounds pretty normal, doesn't it? I mean, it's just a penny from the early 90s. You've probably seen a ton of them floating around, and you might have even tossed one aside without a second thought. But here's the thing, not all pennies are created equal. In fact, some pennies, like the 1993 D-Mint Mark, can be worth way more than their face value. And I'm talking a lot more. Like, $1.6 million more. But how does a penny end up being worth that much? Well, let's break it down. First off, it's important to know that not every 1993 D penny is worth a fortune. That would be way too easy, right? What makes this particular penny stand out is something you probably wouldn't even notice at first glance: a small, subtle minting error. These errors can range from things like double dies, off-center strikes, and, in this case, a really rare and unusual mistake in the way the coin was stamped. It's this combination of factors that makes these pennies such valuable collector's items. But here's the kicker: finding one of these error coins is like finding a needle in a haystack. That's right. Imagine you're digging through a pile of pennies and, out of all those thousands of coins, you find the one that's worth $1.6 million. It's like winning the lottery, but with a penny. I mean, how crazy is that? So now, let me tell you a quick story about my own personal experience with coins. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just looking for some cool vintage stuff, and I stumbled across a jar of old pennies. The guy selling them didn't know much about them. I thought, hey, maybe I'll get lucky and find something old or rare. So, I bought the jar for, I don't know, $5? I started sifting through the pennies, and after a while, I thought I'd found something interesting. But it wasn't a 1993 D, nope, not that lucky. It was just a regular old 1972 penny. And sure, it wasn't worth millions, but I did learn a valuable lesson that day: you never know what you've got until you look closely. Now, before you start diving headfirst into your collection of change, let's talk about how you can actually identify these rare 1993 D pennies. First, you'll want to check the mint mark. The mint mark is a small letter found near the bottom right of Lincoln's bust, just below the date. If it says D, you've got a coin minted in Denver. So far, so good. Next, you want to look for any signs of a minting error. With the 1993 D penny, you're specifically looking for double die errors, where the design is stamped more than once, or an off-center strike. These types of errors give the coin its distinctive look and make it super valuable. Trust me, if you find one, you'll know. It won't look like your average penny. Now, you're probably wondering, how can I tell if mine's worth $1.6 million or just 1 cent? Well, here's where things get a little tricky. It's all about condition and rarity. Coins that are in mint condition, like the 1993 D penny, are usually the ones that end up fetching crazy prices at auction. So, it's important to keep your coins safe and in good condition. If your penny is in excellent shape, you might want to get it graded by a professional, otherwise, you could miss out on its true value. Oh, and one more thing before we go, don't toss that penny just because you think it's just a penny. If you've got a jar of old coins sitting around collecting dust, take a few minutes to sort through them. You might just have a hidden gem in there. Alright, folks, here's the bottom line. That 1993 D Lincoln penny you've got sitting in your collection could be worth a lot more than you think, up to $1.6 million. But, of course, not every 1993 D is going to make you a millionaire, so it's important to know what to look for, how to properly grade and preserve your coins, and when to call in an expert. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about rare and valuable coins, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I've got tons of videos coming your way, packed with tips and tricks to help you uncover hidden treasures in your spare change. And hey, if you found a crazy valuable coin, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your stories. Hey there, coin collectors and curious folks. Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're someone who still has that jar of coins you've been meaning to sort through, I've got some exciting news for you. I bet you didn't know that you might be holding onto a small piece of history worth a whopping $1.7 million, and it's not a rare gold coin or an ancient artifact. Nope, it's a 1978 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. If that doesn't get you excited, I don't know what will. Now, before you go running to your piggy bank, let's dive into what makes this coin so special, why it's worth so much, and what you should be looking for if you think you might have one of these beauties. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have a new reason to stare at your change like it's a treasure chest. Alright, let's take a closer look at this penny from 1978. So, what's the deal? Why in the world is a 1978 penny, which is one of those coins you can still find in your pocket change, worth so much? To break it down, we've got to start with the no mint mark situation. If you're new to the world of coins, mint marks are those little letters on the coin that tell you where it was made, either in Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D, or San Francisco, S. In 1978, most pennies had a D mint mark, meaning they were struck in Denver. But a few rare pennies were made in Philadelphia without the mint mark. These are the ones we're after. Now, why are these pennies worth so much? Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, the 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny is rare, and with rarity comes demand. Back in the day, they were produced in smaller quantities, and for some reason, whether it was an accidental omission or a rare decision by the US Mint, it has become a hot commodity in the coin world. And here's the kicker: if you've ever taken a look at the condition of your pennies and thought, why do I still have this dirty, scratched up penny from 1978, you might want to reconsider. The value of this coin increases dramatically if it's in mint condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. We're talking $1.7 million for one in perfect, uncirculated condition. Now, let me hit you with a little relatable story. A few years ago, I was helping my grandma go through a jar of old coins. You know, the ones that have been sitting at the back of the cupboard, gathering dust. She was all, "Oh, those are just my spare pennies from the 70s. Well, guess what? I almost threw out a 1978 penny without thinking twice. Luckily, I stopped myself. Turns out, that little penny could have been worth a decent chunk of change. I'm talking about a lot more than what my grandma thought it was worth, haha. Moral of the story: never underestimate the power of a penny, people. So, how can you tell if you've got one of these rare pennies? Here are a few things to look for. If your penny is from 1978 and has no mint mark, you're off to a good start. A worn, dirty penny won't fetch you $1 million. You need one that's practically untouched, without any signs of wear or discoloration. If you're lucky enough to find one, get it authenticated. There are professional services that will verify its authenticity and condition. Trust me, it's worth the extra step to make sure you're holding a real gem and not just an old penny. Alright, so now you're probably wondering, how many of these rare pennies are actually out there? Well, that's where it gets interesting. The truth is, not many people know exactly how many 1978 no mint mark pennies exist. They weren't exactly cataloged properly, and the whole thing was kind of a mistake, which adds to the mystery and allure. But here's what we do know: these coins aren't exactly sitting around in every collection. They are hard to find, and that's what makes them so valuable. And while you might be thinking, but I don't have a 1978 no mint mark penny, do I just go out and buy one? The answer is, hold your horses. You're better off keeping your eyes peeled for one, rather than buying one, because, well, they're rare, and they could be hiding right in front of you. You might have a whole lot more change than you realize. So, what have we learned today? That little 1978 no mint mark Lincoln penny could be worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million if you've got one in top-notch condition. And hey, even if you don't, it's always worth going through your old pennies to make sure you're not tossing away a future fortune now. I know you're probably itching to go through that old jar of change right now. But before you go on a penny treasure hunt, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more insider tips on rare coins that could be worth big money. You don't want to miss out on videos like this, trust me. I'll keep sharing all the tips, tricks, and stories about how to spot those coins that are hiding in plain sight. And before I sign off, here's a quick challenge for you. Go ahead, dig through your change jar, and let me know in the comments if you find any rare coins. If you do, I'll shout you out in the next video. Happy hunting, and I'll see you next time, coin enthusiasts. Keep those pennies safe, because they could just be worth more than you think. Hey there, coin lovers. Have you ever stared at your spare change and thought, is there a fortune hiding in here? Well, I have some exciting news for you today. You might want to pull out the 2018 mint mark Lincoln penny you've got lying around because it could be worth a jaw-dropping $1 million. Yep, you heard me right, $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? But I promise you, this is no joke. Stick with me, and I'll explain why this seemingly ordinary penny could make you a fortune now. I know what you're thinking. How could a 2018 penny, something that I probably toss around or throw in the jar, possibly be worth that much? I've got the answers, and they're going to blow your mind. Before we dive into the details, grab a snack, maybe not some pennies, though, those are not edible, and let's get started. So, let's get right into it. The 2018 mint mark Lincoln penny might not look like much on the surface. I mean, it's just a regular penny with Abraham Lincoln's face and a coppery finish, right? But here's the twist: this penny is one of a kind. There's something special about it that makes it so valuable. You see, over the years, certain coin varieties have been known to be rarer than others, and sometimes even a small detail can make all the difference. In 2018, the Denver Mint, responsible for stamping those shiny pennies, produced a batch of pennies that, due to a rare production error, ended up being super valuable. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, what error? It looks like my regular old change. That's exactly the point. You might never know you're holding a treasure until you take a closer look. That's why coin collectors and experts are constantly on the hunt for these unique finds. The error? Well, it's a misstrike in the design, and it's so rare that collectors are willing to pay serious money for it, and don't think that finding one of these is a walk in the park either. I mean, you're not going to just find one by flipping through the couch cushions or scraping change off the sidewalk. No, these pennies are very hard to come by, which makes them highly sought after. In fact, most people who stumble upon these don't even realize the value they're holding. I mean, think about it. How many of us have seen a penny and tossed it into the change jar without a second thought? Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was at a yard sale, just casually poking through dusty old boxes of random stuff, hoping to find a hidden gem. And while I was flipping through some old books, I found a jar of pennies. I took a look, and honestly, I almost passed on it, but something made me take a second glance. As I dug deeper into the jar, I found a coin I had never seen before, a 1943 copper penny. It wasn't in the best shape, but I could tell it was something special. Long story short, I had it appraised and found out it was worth thousands. Now, I'm not saying this 2018 mint mark penny is going to be the same thing, but it's a reminder: don't judge a coin by its cover, or by how dirty it is. But enough about my yard sale adventures. Back to the 2018 penny. To make sure you don't miss out on your potential gold mine, here's what you need to do. Look closely at the mint mark. You'll see that little D stamped on the front of the coin, right below Lincoln's shoulder. This mint mark shows it was struck at the Denver Mint. Now, What makes this specific 2018 D penny worth $1 million is that there were some rare circumstances around its production that caused the coins to have a unique design error, which drastically increases their value. But how do you know if you have one of these? Well, it's all about the small details. Check for any signs of misalignment or irregularities in the design. These little imperfections could be the key to unlocking a huge payday. And I'll be honest, you're not going to spot it right away, but with a magnifying glass or a good set of coin inspection tools, you'll be able to see what you're working with. So, get up, grab your 2018 D pennies, and give them a good once-over. Alright, now that we've gone over the details, let me leave you with this. You never know where your next big break is hiding. It could be sitting in a jar of change, just waiting for you to discover it. But here's the thing, if you want to stay ahead of the curve and spot more pennies, dimes, or quarters that could be worth a fortune, you've got to stay informed. That's where I come in. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 2018 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny and want more tips and tricks on finding coins worth big money, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We've got tons of other videos coming your way on coins that could change your life. And trust me, there's no shortage of valuable coins out there. The world of numismatics is full of hidden gems waiting to be discovered. So, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on more coin hunting tips, strategies, and fun stories. And if you've got any coins you think might be worth a fortune, drop a comment below and share your finds with the community. We love hearing about your discoveries. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and as always, keep hunting those rare coins. You never know what's out there just waiting to be found. See you in the next one, and remember, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what we've got in store next. Hey there, coin enthusiasts. Welcome back to the channel. Have you ever looked at a penny and thought, I wonder if this little copper coin is worth anything more than its face value? Well, let me tell you, there are pennies out there that are worth millions, and no, I'm not talking about those rare gold-plated ones you see in novelty shops. I'm talking about real, rare pennies that could make your jaw drop. And today, we're going to talk about one of them, the 1984 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny that could be worth up to $1.1 million. Yes, you heard me right, $1.1 million. Now, before you go running to dig through your loose change jar, let's break down what makes this little penny such a gem and how you can spot it. Grab a snack, sit back, and let's get started. So, why is the 1984 D penny so valuable? I mean, we all know pennies aren't worth much except when they are, right? Let's dive into the specifics. First off, the 1984 D penny is pretty much like the regular 1984 pennies you've probably seen in your pocket. It's made of copper and has the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. But here's the kicker, it's the mint mark that makes this coin stand out. You see, the D in the 1984 D mint mark means that this penny was minted in Denver. While most 1984 D pennies are worth just 1 cent, shocker, right? A few have some very specific, rare characteristics that can make them worth a lot more. So, what makes these pennies different? Well, there are some known variations that set them apart, and some even have minor mistakes or errors, like off-center strikes or die breaks, that make them exceptionally rare and valuable to collectors. A penny with the right errors or characteristics could be worth a small fortune. For instance, some of these pennies are in nearly perfect condition, and if you happen to have one of those, you're looking at a potential $1.1 million payoff. And now, I know you're probably thinking, wait, how do I even know if I have one of these rare pennies? Well, it's all about the condition and the specific error. It's kind of like finding a hidden treasure buried in a pile of regular pennies. But don't worry, I've got your back. First, check for any signs of errors on the coin. Look for anything unusual, like an off-center image, doubling of numbers, or uneven strikes. But let's be real, finding a 1984 D penny worth millions isn't something that happens every day. It's not like you'll find one of these bad boys in your change at the grocery store. Trust me, I've tried. Here's a little personal story for you. I remember one day I was flipping through some pennies I'd saved in a jar for years, my treasure trove, as I like to call it. I thought, hey, maybe I've got a rare one in here. I spent what felt like hours sorting through those pennies, checking every single one. I didn't find anything worth more than a penny, go figure, but I did get a serious lesson in patience and persistence. So, if you're out there searching for one of these rare pennies, don't give up hope. You might just get lucky. A lot of these rare 1984 D pennies turn up in uncirculated rolls from the bank, or sometimes in old collections. The key is to be diligent and to know what to look for. That means familiarizing yourself with the different errors and grades that can turn a typical penny into a small fortune. It's also helpful to get your hands on a magnifying glass or a coin microscope. Trust me, it makes all the difference. And here's a fun tip: if you find one, don't go selling it on eBay without doing some research first. You want to make sure you're getting the best deal possible. Sometimes, the auctions can get a little out of hand, and you could end up selling your coin for less than it's actually worth. I mean, it's like going to a yard sale and finding a priceless antique, only to sell it for 50 cents, but also, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are online communities and coin collectors who know their stuff and can help you determine the true value of your penny.so. There you have it. The 1984 D. Lincoln penny, a coin that could be worth $1.1 million, if you happen to find the right one with the right characteristics. I hope this video has given you some insight into how you can start hunting for rare coins and maybe even stumble upon one of these treasures in your own collection. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought: the coin world is full of surprises. It's not just about the pennies we take for granted, it's about the hunt, the discovery, and the thrill of potentially holding something worth way more than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this video and you want more tips on how to find coins that could make you rich, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Seriously, you don't want to miss out on the next treasure hunt. I've got more tips, tricks, and stories coming your way. And if you have any questions or want to share your own coin discoveries, drop a comment below. I love hearing from you all. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your coin hunting. Remember, keep those pennies, and who knows? You might just find a little bit of fortune hiding in your pocket. Hit that subscribe button now for more tips on coins worth money, strategies for spotting hidden treasures, and a whole lot of fun coin talk. Trust me, you'll want to be in the loop for what's coming next. Hey, coin collectors and curious folks! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always wondered, what if you found a coin worth, like, $1 million? Seriously. Just imagine, you're digging around in your pocket, pull out a coin, and boom, it's worth more than your car. Well, my friends, today we're diving into a penny, yes, a penny that could be worth a cool $1.2 million. Sounds crazy? Stick with me, and I'll show you how this tiny little 1960 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny could change your life. So, grab your magnifying glass, 'cause we're about to go treasure hunting. Alright, before we start dreaming about all the things we could buy with $1.2 million, let's break this down a little. A lot of you might be thinking, how is a 1960 penny worth that much? Didn't pennies just get thrown away in the 90s? I thought we stopped caring about pennies a long time ago. Well, you're not wrong, but here's the thing: some coins, especially rare ones like this 1960 D, have value way beyond their copper content, and it's all thanks to a few key factors: rarity, condition, and sometimes, just a little bit of luck. First, let's talk about the mint mark. This one's got the D right under Lincoln's shoulder, which means it was minted in Denver. Now, you're probably thinking, Denver? That's just a place. But for coin collectors, that mint mark means everything. When you hear the term rare coin, it doesn't always mean it was produced in super small quantities. Sometimes, it's about how many of those coins have survived in great condition. Most of the 1960 D pennies are, well, not in the best shape. They were spent, dropped, squashed, thrown into jars, and buried in the backyard by your grandpa. But some of them? They survived, and not just survived, they'd been well taken care of, and that makes all the difference. Now, let me tell you a little personal story. I remember my grandmother, rest her soul, used to have this huge jar of coins, right? I was like 10 years old, and I thought I was some kind of coin expert. So, I started sorting through this jar of pennies, thinking I was gonna find something worth a fortune. And you know what I found? A bunch of pennies that were already worn down to almost nothing. Number 1960 D mint marks. Just a ton of shiny, regular pennies. But, little did I know, I could have been looking at a potential gold mine. If only I had known what I know now. So, here's the deal: the 1960 D mint mark Lincoln penny is worth big money, up to $1.2 million if it's in mint condition. That's right, folks, if you have one in near perfect shape, it's not just pocket change anymore. These bad boys can fetch a hefty price at auction, especially if they've been well preserved and graded by professionals. And you know the crazy part? These coins were minted over 60 years ago, so you'd think there wouldn't be many left, right? Well, you'd be right. But here's the kicker: people just didn't think twice about holding on to them. Most people tossed them aside, or maybe they were too busy worrying about the bigger coins. But for those who did hold on to them and kept them in pristine condition, well, they're now sitting on a small fortune. But how do you know if your 1960 penny is worth that kind of cash? Great question. Well, first off, you need to check the condition. The best condition pennies will have sharp details. Lincoln's face should be crisp, and you should be able to see all the tiny lines and details on the coin's design. If it's worn out or faded, it might not fetch as much. This coin is all about that collector's grade, and people pay top dollar for a penny that looks almost new. No scratches, no fading, and definitely no stains. And trust me, if you've got a dirty penny, it's probably not gonna make you a millionaire unless it's got some unique historical backstory attached to it. By the way, if you're wondering if you've got one of these valuable pennies, I'd suggest taking it to a professional. You can find coin graders online, or even in your local area, who can authenticate and grade your coins. And let's face it, if you pull out a $1.2 million penny from your collection, you're gonna want to be 100% sure it's the real deal. So, what's the moral of the story here? Well, folks, don't just toss your pennies aside. Take a minute, do a little digging, and you might find that your pennies from heaven are worth more than you think. And who knows? Maybe you've got a 1960 mint mark Lincoln penny tucked away in your collection that could change your life forever. If you want more tips, tricks, and inside scoops on coins that could be worth a fortune, hit that subscribe button and join the family. I'm always dropping knowledge on rare coins, and you definitely don't want to miss out. Also, if you have a story about a lucky coin find, drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Hey there, coin collectors and curious minds. Welcome back to the channel. You're not going to believe what we're about to dive into today, because this coin right here, this tiny little penny, could make you a millionaire. That's right, I'm talking about the 1961 mint mark Lincoln penny. Don't let its small size fool you, folks. This penny's value is skyrocketing, and it's currently sitting pretty at an insane $1.3 million. Sounds too good to be true? Well, trust me, you don't want to miss this story. Before we jump into the details, let me tell you something. I had no idea this little penny was worth so much until I found one of these bad boys in a change jar, right alongside a bunch of old coins I'd forgotten about. Yeah, the same jar that was once home to a stack of pennies that barely made it to the grocery store parking meter. But, spoiler alert, this one was different. It was a real game changer. Alright, enough teasing. Let's talk about the 1961 Lincoln penny. Why is it worth so much, and how can you get your hands on one of these rare beauties? Stay tuned, because you might just have one in your pocket right now. Okay, so the first question that's probably buzzing in your head right now is, what makes a 1961 penny so valuable? Well, my friend, it's all about rarity. This coin, like most valuable pennies, isn't just rare because it was minted back in 1961. It's rare because it has something that makes it different from the rest of the pennies that were made that year. You see, while millions of pennies were produced in 1961, not all of them were created equal. A handful were struck with a very unique minting error or have a certain set of characteristics that set them apart. If you find one of these pennies in mint condition, meaning it's practically flawless and has a nice sharp design, it could be worth a fortune. We're talking $1.3 million, folks. Yeah, you heard me right. Now, let's break it down a little more. The 1961 penny was minted in Denver, as indicated by the D mint mark on the coin. That's where the magic happens. Most of these pennies you find floating around in your pocket change or in a jar are going to be pretty standard, probably worth 1 cent each. But, the ones that made it through the minting process with little to no flaws are the real stars. It's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, except that needle could change your life. You might be wondering, but how do I know if my 1961 penny is one of the valuable ones? Well, my fellow treasure hunter, it all comes down to the coin's condition and its details. There are a couple of things you want to look for, like the sharpness of Abraham Lincoln's profile, the evenness of the strike, and most importantly, the lack of wear and tear. A coin that has been stored properly, without any visible scratches, nicks, or discoloration, has a better chance of being worth the jaw-dropping $1.30 million. Now, don't go thinking you're going to find one of these bad boys just lying around on the ground or in your usual coin jar. But, hey, you never know. I once found an old buffalo nickel in my back pocket when I went to grab some change at a gas station. It wasn't worth $1.3 million, but it sure made me feel like I'd found a hidden gem. Here's a fun story for you. I remember one time, I was at a yard sale, digging through some old boxes of random stuff. The seller looked at me and said, "I have no idea what's in these, but there's a lot of change in here. You can have it all for $1." I bought the box on a whim, no clue what was inside, and guess what? Among the piles of dimes and quarters, I found a 1961 penny. I didn't think much of it, but a little research later, and I discovered it was one of the rare ones. Can you imagine? $1 turned into hundreds of dollars, and I even made a few YouTube videos about it. Moral of the story, you never know when that one special coin is going to come your way. So, let's wrap up this segment. If you find a 1961 penny, here's what you need to do: look for any wear, scratches, or imperfections. A professional coin grading service can tell you exactly what condition it's in, and whether it's worth more than just a cent or two. If it's in mint condition, it could be worth up to $1.3 million, or at least a hefty chunk of change. But, hey, don't sell it on a whim. Do your research first. So, what's the takeaway here, my fellow coin enthusiasts? It's simple: if you've got a 1961 Lincoln penny, don't just toss it into a jar or a drawer like it's no big deal. Give it a second look, because you might be sitting on a gold mine, well, a penny mine, and that could change your life. And if you don't have one of these valuable pennies, well, don't sweat it. There are plenty of other rare coins out there, just waiting for you to find them. Like I always say, treasure is where you least expect it. Before we wrap up, here's the deal: if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of content on valuable coins, collecting tips, and crazy coin finds coming your way. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. Alright, that's all for today, folks. Keep your eyes peeled for rare pennies, and remember, one day, you might just be holding onto something that could be worth millions. Catch you in the next video. Alright, picture this. You're sitting in front of a pile of pennies, probably just tossing them into a jar or using them to pretend you're making a phone call like it's the 90s. But then, one of those pennies catches your eye. It's a 1994 penny, with no mint mark. You pick it up, give it a once-over, and think, wait, could this be the next big thing? Spoiler alert, it could be. And by could be, I mean it is. You might be holding a coin worth over $1.4 million. Yeah, you heard me right. A penny worth $1.4 million. If you're thinking this sounds like the plot of a bad heist movie, trust me, it's real. Stick around, because today, we're diving deep into the world of the 1994 no-mint mark Ibrahim Lincoln penny and why it could be worth more than your entire coin collection, or your car, or your student loans, or probably your house. Okay, let's get into it. So, what's the deal with this 1994 penny? It's just a regular old penny, right? Not quite. You see, most pennies minted after 1980 have a mint mark on them. That little letter, D for Denver, S for San Francisco, indicates where the coin was made. But, in 1994, a small number of these pennies were accidentally made without a mint mark. These are the rare ones, and when you find one, you've got a potential gold mine in your hands. Normally, a 1994 penny, mint mark or not, would be worth what, 1 cent? But the no mint mark variety? That's a whole different ballgame. It's like finding an ancient artifact at a yard sale. People start throwing money at you, and suddenly, you're like, whoa, I'm gonna retire early. Now, here's where it gets fun: the 1994 no mint mark penny is rare. We're talking super rare. Estimates suggest that only a handful of these rare coins exist, which makes them highly sought after by collectors. Now, why exactly is a single penny worth $1.4 million? It's not just because it looks like a penny. Oh no, it's all about rarity and demand. You see, while pennies are mass-produced, the ones without a mint mark didn't go through the usual channels. They were a mistake, what we in the coin world call a mint error. When collectors discover an error coin like this, they go nuts. Think about it, how many other coins out there are one tiny mistake away from being worth a fortune? Not many, that's for sure. People are willing to drop big money on these because they're so rare. In fact, there's a 1994 no-mint mark penny that sold at auction for over $1.4 million. That's not a typo, folks. One penny sold for $1 million. Imagine that. Your regular pocket change turning into the kind of cash that would make your grandma proud. Alright, so how do you spot this rare beauty? Well, the first thing you need to do is grab a magnifying glass or just use your phone's camera zoom because, hey, technology. Now, check the reverse side of the coin, the one with Lincoln's memorial. Look closely for a mint mark. If you see nothing, bingo! You've found it. But be careful, this isn't a find a penny, find a fortune type of deal. There are plenty of other pennies from 1994 floating around that do have mint marks, and they're just regular pennies. Also, don't go throwing out every penny from 1994 thinking you're about to get rich. There are a lot of them out there, but the ones without the mint mark are the needle in the haystack. So, the next time you're scrolling through your change jar or going through that pile of pennies you've been hoarding since 2003, take a closer look. It could make you the next big coin collector sensation. So, let me share a quick personal story with you. A few years ago, I was at a flea market and I found a coin seller who was selling a ton of old pennies. Nothing spectacular, just a bunch of shiny, unremarkable coins. But then, one penny caught my eye. I didn't know if it was rare or valuable, but I picked it up and thought, why not? I think I paid about $5 for it, because, sometimes you just have a hunch. Fast forward a few weeks later, and I looked up the coin online. Turns out, it was a rare Erorr coin worth over $300. I couldn't believe it. It was like finding a hidden treasure. And while my story didn't involve $1 million penny, it made me realize how easy it is to overlook rare coins that are worth much more than you think. That's why I'm so passionate about helping you spot those hidden gems. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on these kinds of opportunities. So, to wrap things up, if you find a 1994 penny with no mint mark, don't just toss it in the jar. Do some research, get it checked out by a professional, and maybe, just maybe, you'll be the lucky one to cash in big time. A penny worth $1.4 million? That could be you. If you liked this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coins worth money. Who knows, maybe the next big coin discovery could be sitting in your pocket right now. And if you have any crazy coin stories, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your own hidden treasures. Alright, that's it for today. Go check your change, and I'll see you in the next video. Happy hunting, coin lovers! This script provides a friendly, humorous, and informative approach while covering key aspects of the 1994 no-mint mark penny's value and market potential. It includes relatable elements like personal stories and a compelling call to action at the end to engage viewers and encourage subscriptions. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Now, I know you're here because you're looking for a cool coin that could be sitting in your change jar, and guess what? You just might have a goldmine in your hands. Well, not literally gold, but it's close, because we're talking about a coin that's worth a mind-blowing $1.5 million. Yep, you heard that right. It's the 1988 no-mint mark Ibrahim Lincoln penny. Now, before you run to your couch cushions and start flipping through every penny you own, let's tell you, there's a lot more to this than just finding a shiny, old penny. Stick around because we're diving deep into why this little copper coin can potentially make you a millionaire, or at least a few bucks richer if you have the right one. But before we get into all of that, I have a funny story about how I once found a rare coin, only to realize it was just a dirty penny someone left in a parking lot. Stay tuned for that embarrassing moment. Trust me, you'll get a good laugh out of it. Alright, let's kick things off by talking about the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. So, what makes this penny so special? Well, here's the deal. Usually, on a penny, you'll find a mint mark right under the date, either in S4 San Francisco, D4 Denver, or sometimes none at all, like in this case. But in 1988, the mint forgot to put that little letter on some of the coins they made. And that's what makes it stand out now. You're probably thinking, okay, so it's just a penny with no mint mark. Big deal, right? Wrong. The thing is, this tiny mistake can actually skyrocket its value, like up to $1.5 million, if it's in perfect condition and it gets the right buyer. You see, collectors love these quirky little errors. They go nuts for coins with anomalies, whether it's a missing mint mark, a doubled die, or some other imperfection. It's like a game of Where's Waldo for coin collectors, except instead of finding Waldo, you're finding a rare piece of history that could be worth more than your entire car. But before you start thinking every 1988 penny without a mint mark is a hidden treasure, let's talk about condition. Not all 1988 pennies are created equal, and I'll be honest, most of them you find in your change aren't going to be worth a fortune. The penny you're looking for needs to be in mint condition, as in, it needs to look like it was barely touched by human hands, or better yet, like it was locked in a time capsule. And now, I know what you're thinking, mint condition? I have a penny that's been through everything, dropped, stepped on, tossed around. It's seen more action than a Marvel movie. Well, that's the thing. In order for the 1988 no mint mark penny to hit that $1 million mark, it has to have very little wear and tear. Ideally, it should be graded at least MS65 by the professionals. But hey, if you find one, it could be worth a lot more than the pocket change you've been holding onto. Let's be real here for a second. How many of us have found something valuable that we thought was worth a ton of money, only to realize it was a total dud? I once thought I had found a rare silver dollar while digging through my grandfather's old stuff. I was so excited until I got it checked out by a pro, and it turned out to be a replica. Not only did I not get rich, but I also had to eat some humble pie in front of a group of coin experts. Talk about a buzzkill, but here's where the 1988 no mint mark penny is different. It's real. And if you happen to find one in top condition, you could be holding something more valuable than you ever imagined. Imagine casually pulling a penny out of your pocket and realizing it's worth more than your car payment. That's the dream. Well, first, you need to take a good look at the date. It should be 1988, and there should be absolutely no mint mark under it. If there is, then it's just your standard coin, and you can put it back in your jar of pennies. Next, you'll want to look at the condition. If it's all scratched up, tarnished, or dirty, you can forget about that $1 million price tag. But if it's shiny, well preserved, and hasn't been handled too much, especially if it looks brand new, then you might have yourself a winner. Now, I'm not saying you should start selling off every 1988 penny you come across, but hey, it's always worth checking. Who knows, you might just be sitting on a small fortune without even realizing it. And if you do find one, make sure to get it appraised by a professional and get it graded. You don't want to miss out on all that potential value just because you didn't know where to take it. Let's wrap this up. The 1988 no mint mark Lincoln penny might sound like just another coin in your pocket, but it's way more than that. It's a potential ticket to big money. But, as with most things in the world of collectibles, it's all about finding the right coin in the right condition. If you learned something today, and you're now feeling the urge to dig through your coin jar or check out your local coin shops, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. I've got tons more tips on rare coins, their values, and some strategies for hunting them down. Plus, you don't want to miss the next story of my embarrassing coin blunder. It's a good one. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time with more insider tips on how you can make your collection worth its weight in gold, or at least a lot of pennies. This script maintains a casual, friendly tone, with humor and a personal anecdote to make the topic relatable. The video encourages engagement through a compelling call to action at the end. Alright, coin enthusiasts, gather round, because today we're about to talk about a penny that's worth more than your grandma's secret recipe for chocolate chip cookies. Yep, I'm talking about the 1963 no mint mark Lincoln penny, and let me tell you, this little copper circle could have you laughing all the way to the bank. Well, unless you've already checked your piggy bank and found only lint and a couple of outdated receipts. But fear not, this story has a happy ending. Stick with me, and by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your change differently. So, what makes this 1963 no mint mark Lincoln penny so special? Let's dive into the story of how a seemingly ordinary penny could end up being worth a whopping $1.7 million. Now, let's rewind a bit. 1963, it's the year when JFK was in office, and the Beatles were still perfecting their haircuts, right? A time when people actually used payphones. You remember those? No? Just me? Okay. Anyway, it's a year that seemed pretty average in the world of coin collecting, except for one tiny detail, the 1963 Lincoln penny. But before we get to that detail, let's break down what makes a penny just a penny and what sets one apart from the others. Normally, pennies are minted with a mint mark to show where they were made. If you've got a penny with a D on it, that means it was minted in Denver. S means San Francisco. And P, yep, that's Philadelphia. So, you're probably thinking, okay, cool. I've seen all these letters. But in 1963, something strange happened. The Philadelphia Mint made some pennies without a mint mark. That's right, no P, no S, no D. Just a plain old penny. The mint mark mysteriously disappeared. And no one thought anything of it at first. I mean, why would you, right? It's just a penny. But, as the years went by, collectors started to notice that these 1963 no mint mark pennies were different. They were rare, and guess what? They were valuable. Here's the kicker: if you've got one of these 1963 no mint mark pennies in good condition, like really good condition, we're talking about a value of $1.7 million. That's right, folks. A single penny that could pay off your student loans, a new car, maybe even that house you've been dreaming of. I mean, that's enough to make you want to go digging through your couch cushions, right? But here's the thing. It's not easy to find these pennies. It's kind of like searching for a needle in a haystack, but this needle is actually worth a fortune. So, how do you know if you've got one? Well, first off, you need to check your pennies from 1963. And don't just pick out the ones that look a little worn out. We're talking about the ones in near mint or uncirculated condition; those are the real gems. Now, here's a little personal story to make this hit home. A while back, I was rummaging through a jar of old coins that I inherited from my grandfather. There were pennies from all sorts of years, some shiny, some tarnished, some with a little too much character for my taste. But then, I spotted it, a 1963 penny that looked almost brand new. No mint mark, just a plain old penny, or so I thought. I didn't think much of it, but out of curiosity, I decided to get it appraised. Guess what? I didn't get $1 million penny, but I did get a nice chunk of change for that one. Moral of the story? Never underestimate a penny, folks. So, before you go passing off any 1963 pennies, get yourself a magnifying glass and take a closer look. You could be sitting on a small fortune. Alright, coin collectors, here's the final thought. The 1963 no mint mark penny may seem like just another coin in your pocket change, but the value of these rare pieces is proof that sometimes, the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. So, next time you're holding a penny, ask yourself, could this little copper circle change my life? You never know. It might just be the 1963 no mint mark penny worth $1.7 million that you've been looking for. And that, my friends, is the magic of coin collecting. If you liked this video and you want more tips on which coins could be hiding in your collection, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons more stories, tips, and strategies on how you can find those hidden gems that are worth way more than face value. So, smash that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments what's the most valuable coin you've ever found. And if you haven't found one yet, what are you waiting for? Get to searching. See you in the next video, where we'll dive into more coins worth way more than a cent. Hey! Welcome back to the channel, coin enthusiasts. Now, if you think pennies are just pocket change, I've got a story that'll make you reconsider. Picture this: you're out shopping, you reach into your pocket, and you pull out a penny. You don't think twice, it's a penny, right? But hold on. What if that very penny, that seemingly worthless little coin, was actually worth $1.80 million? Yep, you heard that right, $1.8 million for a penny. Sounds like a joke, but trust me, it's very real, and today, I'm going to tell you all about this rare, mind-blowing find, the 1964 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. So, grab your magnifying glasses, because by the end of this video, you'll be looking at your change in a whole new way. Trust me, you'll never look at a penny the same again. Now, before we get into how a regular old penny could be worth so much, let's take a trip back to 1964. Back then, it was a year of change. The Beatles were dominating the charts, the Twilight Zone was scaring the heck out of people, and well, pennies were just pennies. The US Mint was cranking out those copper coins like they were going out of style, and among all those pennies, there was one very special batch, the 1964 D Lincoln penny. So, why is it worth so much today? Let me break it down for you. It's not like it was made from solid gold or anything, although, wouldn't that be nice? What makes this penny so valuable is its unique minting error. You see, the 1964 D Lincoln penny has some subtle, but crucial, differences in the way it was struck. Over the years, this coin became one of those rare finds that collectors can't resist. In fact, only a handful of these pennies were produced with the right mix of flaws, making them highly sought after today. And if you happen to find one of these rare pennies sitting in your pocket change or stashed in a jar somewhere, well, I don't know what to tell you other than you might want to start doing some happy dances, but let me get a little more specific here. The coin's true value comes from how pristine it is. So, if you find a 1964 D in mint condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. We're talking about $1.8 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, isn't that just one of those crazy, once-in-a-lifetime finds? Well, yeah, but if you're a penny collector, this isn't as rare as it sounds. You've probably heard about the famous wheat pennies or the steel cents from World War II. And guess what? They didn't become valuable just by chance. Collectors took the time to understand the market, research the specific types of coins, and started snatching up these rare pennies. Here's the thing, you don't need to break the bank to start your own coin collection. In fact, I've got a personal story to share with you. A while ago, I was at a local flea market, just browsing, minding my own business, when I stumbled upon a box of old coins. I wasn't expecting much. But guess what? Inside that box, I found a couple of 1964 D pennies, and while they weren't in mint condition, I could tell they had potential. It was like discovering hidden treasure in plain sight, and let me tell you, that experience taught me something important. You never know when you're going to find that one rare coin that could change everything. The value of these coins isn't always obvious at first glance. It's about understanding what you're looking for and being patient. Coin collecting isn't just about getting rich, it's about the hunt, the excitement of finding that rare gem. So, how do you spot these valuable pennies? Well, first off, look for the D mint mark. It's located just below the date on the coin. If you can find a 1964 penny with that D and it's in pristine condition, then congrats, you're holding onto a potential goldmine. The real kicker is finding one that has been well preserved over the years. Those in mint state, with little to no wear, fetch the highest prices. So, what's the bottom line here? If you've got a 1964 D Lincoln penny lying around, don't just toss it aside. You might just have a small fortune on your hands. And even if you don't have one right now, remember that the hunt is half the fun. Get out there, check your change, hit up local markets, and who knows, you might be the next person to stumble upon a coin worth millions. Before I wrap up, let me give you a little tip. Coin collecting isn't just for the big players with stacks of cash to burn. You can start small, learn the ropes, and over time, build up a collection that could be worth something huge. It's all about being patient and doing your homework. If you enjoyed this video, and you want to keep learning about coins that could make you rich, whether it's a rare penny or an overlooked nickel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss out on our next tips, tricks, and coin hunting stories. And hey, if you've got a story of your own about finding a rare coin or a funny experience at a flea market, drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled and your pockets full, because you never know when a $1.8 million penny might be right around the corner. Hey, coin collectors, enthusiasts, and people who are just here to find out if you've been sitting on a fortune, have you ever wondered if a simple penny could be worth a small fortune? Well, guess what? There's a 1993 no-mint mark Ibrahim Lincoln penny that's currently valued at a jaw-dropping $1.1 million. Yes, you heard me right. A penny, the same one we might toss in the tip jar or throw in the jar that collects dust on our dresser. But could your 1993 penny be hiding an incredible secret? Well, don't go running to the attic just yet. Stick with me, because I'm going to break down how this tiny coin became a big deal, and how you can spot others that might be just as valuable. Plus, I'll share some personal stories along the way to keep things fun. You won't want to miss this. So, if you're like me, you probably didn't think much about pennies, right? They're just those little copper discs that we find between the cushions of the couch, or sometimes in the laundry, and we all know that is not where we want them to be. But here's the twist, some of these pennies are worth more than a latte at your local coffee shop. A lot more. Now, the 1993 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is an exception. It's rare, and here's why: the mint mark. Normally, each coin minted in the US carries a mint mark indicating which US mint facility it was made in. For pennies, the mint marks are usually a D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco. But in 1993, some pennies were produced without any mint mark at all. And that's where the magic happens. Why would that be such a big deal? Well, in 1993, the US Mint didn't plan to make too many coins without mint marks, so they didn't. This means these no mint mark pennies are rare, and collectors love rare. The fact that they're in such high demand makes them a big deal in the numismatic world. When it comes to pennies, the rarity is what drives the value, and the value of a 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny can go as high as $1.1 million. But before you start flipping through your pocket change, keep in mind that the condition of the penny matters. If your penny has been sitting in a jar for 30 years, scratched up and faded, it's probably not going to fetch that $1.1 million price tag. But if your penny is in great condition, even just a little worn, you're looking at something worth serious money. I used to be one of those people who just tossed pennies in the jar, like a lot of us do, right? I didn't think much of them. But one day, I found a penny from the 1980s. It looked pretty shiny and well preserved, so I thought, hey, maybe this one's special. I googled it, did some research, and guess what? Turns out, it wasn't worth anything. But, the moment I realized how much some pennies could be worth, I started going through every old coin I had. I was determined to find a little gold mine in there. Spoiler alert, I didn't, but it was a fun experience, and I learned a ton about the hobby. Now, let's get back to the 1993 no mint mark Lincoln penny. What makes this coin so valuable isn't just the lack of a mint mark, it's the fact that they are in short supply. You might be lucky enough to find one tucked away, but if you're not finding them in your everyday change, you're not alone. These coins are rare, and even more so in good condition. The best way to know if your 1993 penny is the one worth $1.1 million is to do a bit of research. If it's in uncirculated or near uncirculated condition, it's a good candidate for high value. You want to make sure that there are no signs of wear, no scratches, and that the details on Lincoln's face and the lettering on the coin are still crisp and clean. Now, you might be thinking, okay, great, but how do I find these things? And here's where the hunt gets interesting. To wrap it up, keep your eyes peeled for those rare 1993 pennies, especially ones with no mint mark. It could be worth a small fortune sitting in your spare change jar right now. But remember, condition matters most when determining how much it's worth, so be sure to check your pennies thoroughly. And, hey, even if you don't find the $1.1 million penny right now, there's always something exciting about discovering new coins with hidden value. It's like a treasure hunt, but with coins instead of treasure maps. If you want more tips on spotting valuable coins, I've got plenty more videos coming your way. I'll even walk you through the best strategies for collecting and identifying other rare coins that could make you rich one day. I'm serious, I'm not just talking about dreams here. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of the action. If you enjoyed this video, like it, share it, and leave a comment with any stories about your own coin collection. Hey there, fellow coin hunters. Do you have any pennies lying around that you've been ignoring? Maybe it's time to take a closer look, because today we're talking about a coin that could be sitting in your pocket right now worth a whopping $1.2 million. That's right, the 1982 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin so valuable that it might just make you rethink your whole approach to spare change. But before we dive into why this penny is worth so much, let me hit you with a little story. Not too long ago, I found an old coin while cleaning out my car, and I just tossed it into a jar with the rest of my loose change. Fast forward a few months, and guess what? Turns out that little coin was an Erorr coin worth several $100. Lesson learned, always check your change. And who knows, you could be sitting on a small fortune yourself. So grab your magnifying glass, folks, because we're about to explore the shocking value of the 1982 no mint mark penny, and I promise you'll be keeping your eyes peeled for more rare coins after this. Alright, let's talk about this mysterious penny. You're probably thinking, a penny? Worth $1 million? Nah, that's too good to be true. Well, buckle up, because here's the lowdown. In 1982, the US Mint made a huge transition in the production of pennies. They changed the metal composition from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc, and that's where things get interesting. While most of the pennies from that year are your average everyday coins, there's a rare version of the 1982 penny that was struck with no mint mark, and that's where the real treasure lies. For those of you who might not know, mint marks are those little letters that tell you where a coin was made. Normally, they'd be on the reverse side of the penny, that side with Lincoln's famous face. A penny without a mint mark means it was made in Philadelphia, and not every coin from 1982 was like that. In fact, only a few of these no mint mark pennies made it into circulation, making them an instant collector's dream. Now, you're probably wondering, how in the world did this penny get so valuable? Well, it's a combination of rarity and the fact that it's considered an error coin. You see, most of the 1982 pennies with no mint mark are not in pristine condition. But the ones that are in top shape, well, let's just say they can fetch an eye-popping price. We're talking around $1.2 million if you happen to have one in mint condition. Let's break that down a little. The value of these coins is so high because there's a very limited number of them, and they weren't intended to be produced. Coin collectors love a good error, and this one is like the holy grail of penny errors. In fact, some collectors even spend their time searching through old change just hoping to stumble across one of these rare coins. Kind of like how people look for four-leaf clovers, but with a lot more excitement and a lot fewer muddy hands. But here's the kicker, not every 1982 penny is a goldmine. Just because you've got one of these pennies doesn't mean it's worth millions. The condition of the coin is super important. You'll need one that's well preserved, with clear details and minimal wear. So, if you find one in your couch cushions or at the bottom of your pocket, don't just assume it's worth a fortune. You'll need to check the condition and possibly get it appraised by a professional. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, I have a 1982 penny. How do I know if it's one of the lucky ones? Well, here's what you need to look for. That's the first and most obvious clue. Look for coins that have little to no wear. The more pristine, the more valuable. Sometimes, you may have to take a magnifying glass to spot any subtle differences in the lettering or the overall design, but here's the part one really want to emphasize: even if your 1982 penny doesn't make you a millionaire, don't throw it away. These little guys are still worth something, especially if you're lucky enough to find one in great condition. And even if your coin isn't worth a fortune, it's still a cool piece of history to have in your collection. So, there you have it, the 1982 no mint mark Lincoln penny. A tiny coin that holds big value, and it might just be the treasure you've been waiting for. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just starting out, it's always worth checking your loose change. Who knows? That random penny you find today might be worth a lot more than you think, but before you start digging through your coin jar, I want to leave you with a little challenge. Look through your change today, because sometimes the most unexpected places hold the greatest surprises. And hey, if you enjoyed learning about this crazy valuable penny, hit that subscribe button, and give this video a thumbs up. I've got tons of tips and tricks for finding coins that are worth serious cash, and you won't want to miss out. Stay tuned for more, and as always, keep your eyes peeled for those rare coins. You never know when you'll stumble across the next big find. Hey there, treasure hunters. Ever thought the loose change in your pocket could be worth millions? Yup, you heard me right, millions. Today, we're talking about a simple, unassuming 1991 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's turning heads in the coin world with a jaw-dropping value of $1.1 million. That's right, this little copper beauty could buy you a mansion, a luxury car, or 1.1 million cheeseburgers, though I wouldn't recommend the last option unless you're really hungry. But before you toss your jar of pennies across the room in excitement, let me tell you why this particular penny is so special, how you can spot one, and a little story about how I almost missed a valuable coin sitting right under my nose. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just find yourself rummaging through every couch cushion in the house. Okay, let's dive in. The 1991 no mint mark penny, what makes it worth a staggering $1.1 million? First, let's break down the basics. If you look closely at your pennies, most of them have a tiny letter under the year. That letter tells you where the coin was minted, like D4 Denver or S4 San Francisco. But if you find a 1991 penny without a mint mark, that's where the magic happens. These no mint mark coins were minted in Philadelphia, and while most are pretty ordinary, a rare few were struck with an error that made them incredibly valuable. Think of it as a coin world glitch in the matrix. Some of these coins have features like a double die where the design looks like it was stamped twice, or even a unique composition that makes them stand out from the crowd. Experts and collectors go wild for these Erorrs, which is why one sold for $1.1 million at auction. Now, before you start squinting at every penny you've ever touched, let me tell you what to look for. First, flip the coin over and examine Honest Abe's profile. Is there any doubling on his face or the date? If so, congratulations, you might be looking at a winner. And if your penny feels oddly light or heavy, it could mean it's made of a rare composition, which also makes it more valuable. You'll want to send it to a professional grading service, like PCGS or NGC, to confirm its authenticity and grade. Here's where it gets personal. A couple of years ago, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic, the typical "this is where spiders live" kind of attic. We stumbled across a dusty old jar of coins, and I jokingly said, "Watch us find $1 million penny." Fast forward to me dumping the jar on the kitchen table, sifting through the pile like I was panning for gold. I didn't find a 1991 no mint mark penny, but I did find a 1955 wheat penny worth $200. Not $1 million, but hey, I bought myself a nice dinner with it. Lesson learned: always check your change. Who knows? Your next Starbucks run could pay off your mortgage. Now, here's something funny: not all $1 million pennies look like they're worth much. Some of these coins have scratches, discoloration, or even chewing gum residue. Gross, but true. It's the rare features hidden beneath the surface that make them valuable. So, even if your 1991 penny has seen better days, don't count it out just yet. Think of it like finding a winning lottery ticket that's been through the washing machine. It still counts. And if you're thinking, okay, cool, but where do I even start looking? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Check your change jars, piggy banks, and even your car's cup holder. Pro tip: ask older relatives if they've stashed away any coins. Trust me, grandparents have a knack for hoarding coins that end up being worth a fortune. So there you have it, the story of the 1991 no mint mark penny that could make you a millionaire. It's wild to think about, isn't it? A tiny piece of copper that most people wouldn't even glance at could change your life forever. And now, here's your mission: go dig through your coins and see if you've struck gold or, well, copper. And if you've got any questions or want to learn more about valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of coin enthusiasts. I'm here every week with tips, stories, and strategies to help you turn pocket change into big bucks. And hey, if you do find a 1991 no mint mark penny worth millions, remember your favorite coin geek when you're rolling in cash. Hey there, treasure hunters. Have you ever been digging through your couch cushions, car cup holders, or maybe even an old piggy bank, only to find a penny? And then you think, meh, just a penny. It's not even enough for a piece of gum. But what if I told you that one little penny could be worth more than $1 million? Yep, you heard me right, a whopping $1.20 million. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1976 mint mark Lincoln penny. We'll explore what makes it so valuable, why collectors are losing their minds over it, and, most importantly, how you might just have a tiny fortune sitting in your change jar. Plus, I'll share a little story about my own wild penny hunt that might inspire you to grab a magnifying glass and start searching. Stick around, because this could be the most profitable 20 minutes of your life. Let's start with the basics. The 1976 D penny comes from the Denver Mint. You can tell by the little D mint mark just below the year on the coin. But wait, before you grab any random 1976 penny and quit your job, there's a catch: it's not every 1976 D penny that's worth a fortune. There are some special qualities that make this particular coin a collector's dream. First up, rarity. The coin's value skyrockets because there are only a handful of these pennies that were struck with an unusual error. Error coins are like the unicorns of the coin world. In the case of this penny, the error could be anything from a double die, where the design is slightly duplicated, to a minting flaw like off-center strikes or mismatched metals. These mistakes make collectors go bananas because they're unique, and who doesn't love owning something no one else has? Then there's condition. Coin collectors call this grade. A coin in mint condition, pun intended, is worth way more than one that's been rattling around in your junk drawer for decades. If your 1976 D penny has sharp details, shiny luster, and no major scratches, you're in business. Finally, demand. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare coins, and pennies from the 1970s have a certain nostalgia factor. The 1976 penny is especially cool because it's from America's bicentennial year, a time when everything felt patriotic, and people were literally wearing bell-bottoms to celebrate freedom. Ah, the 70s. Okay, here's a funny story. A few months ago, I decided to clean out my car. If you've ever cleaned your car, you know it's basically a treasure hunt, but with a lot more crumbs. I found a total of 37 pennies, and I thought, hey, I'm rich. You know, jokingly. But then I remembered hearing about rare pennies being worth a ton of money. So, I got curious and started inspecting each one. There I was, flashlight in one hand, magnifying glass in the other, feeling like some kind of coin detective. My dog was looking at me like I'd lost my mind. Spoiler alert, I didn't find a 1976 D penny worth $1.2 million. But I did find a 1944 wheat penny that turned out to be worth about $50, which isn't bad for something I almost vacuumed up, so, trust me when I say, it's worth checking. You never know what you'll find, and now, here's the $1 million question, or should I say, $1.20 million question. How do you know if you have the golden ticket of pennies? Look for that tiny D under the date. No D? Sorry, wrong penny. Use a magnifying glass or, better yet, a coin loop to spot any doubling in the design or weird minting quirks. Coins with minimal wear and tear are the jackpot. If you think you've hit the coin lottery, take it to a professional coin dealer or send it to a grading service like PCGS, and remember, even if your 1976 D penny isn't the $1 million version, Erorr coins from that year can still fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Not too shabby for something that started as pocket change. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate your pennies. That little copper coin sitting in your jar could be the key to a life-changing payday. The 1976 D Lincoln penny, especially the Erorr versions, is proof that treasures can come in the most unexpected forms. Before you head off to start your penny hunt, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin enthusiasts. I'll be sharing more tips, stories, and strategies to help you find coins worth serious money. Who knows? Your next big discovery might just be lurking in your own pocket. Alright, imagine this. You're digging through your spare change for a cup of coffee or maybe trying to feed a parking meter, and bam, you stumble across a penny that could literally make you a millionaire. Yep, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about the 2014 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, a coin worth a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Could one of these be hiding in your pocket? Stick around because we're about to dive into what makes this coin so valuable, how to spot it, and why you should never, ever underestimate those humble pennies. First things first, let's get the basics down. A no-mint mark penny simply means it was minted in Philadelphia. But here's the kicker, it's not just any 2014 penny we're talking about, it's an ultra-rare, one in a million kind of coin. Only a handful of these Erorr coins made it out into circulation, and collectors are going wild trying to get their hands on them now. What makes this particular penny so special? It's all about the details. Some of these coins have subtle errors, like a doubled die, meaning certain features of the coin are slightly duplicated. Think of it like seeing double after a long night out, but on Lincoln's face or the lettering. Errors like these drive collectors crazy, and they're willing to pay big bucks. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my car, yes, the car I always swear I'll keep clean but somehow ends up looking like a fast food museum, and I found this penny. It was shiny, it looked weirdly perfect, and for a split second, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. I ran inside, grabbed a magnifying glass, and Googled like my life depended on it. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a $1 million penny, it was just super clean. But hey, I still got my hopes up for 15 glorious minutes, and that's the beauty of coins like the 2014 no-mint mark penny. You never know when you might stumble upon a treasure. So, how do you know if you've got the real deal? Start by looking for the mint mark, or in this case, the lack of one. If there's no little letter under the date, you're on the right track. Next, examine the coin closely. Use a magnifying glass or a smartphone macro lens to check for doubling on Lincoln's face, the date, or the lettering that says, "In God We Trust." Pro tip, don't clean the coin. I know you want it to look shiny and presentable, but scrubbing it could lower its value faster than a dropped ice cream cone on a summer day. Here's the thing about rare coins, their value isn't just in the metal. It's in the history, the rarity, and the sheer excitement of owning something so unique. The 2014 no-mint mark penny is basically the Beyoncé of the coin world, rare, flawless, and in high demand. Collectors are willing to shell out $1.3 million for this coin because it's a once-in-a-lifetime find. This whole rare coin thing is kind of poetic. It's a reminder that even the smallest, most overlooked things, like a penny, can hold incredible value. It's like life saying, hey, don't underestimate the little guys. So, here's the deal: the next time you're about to toss your spare change into a jar or hand it off to a vending machine, stop and take a closer look. That penny in your hand could be worth a fortune, and if you love learning about rare coins, money-making tips, or just random treasures hiding in plain sight, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Who knows? Your next coin find could make you the star of my next video. Hey there, fellow treasure hunters. Imagine this: you're sifting through your spare change, half asleep, when suddenly you spot a penny. But not just any penny, this bad boy is the 1995 D-Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and it's worth a jaw-dropping $1.4 million. Yes, you heard me right. A single cent could buy you a mansion, a sports car, or fund your dream vacation to every tropical island on Earth. Today, we're diving deep into why this penny is so valuable, how to spot one, and why checking your couch cushions might just be your next retirement plan. But first, let me tell you about the time I almost tossed a valuable coin. Spoiler alert, I didn't. Thank goodness. But more on that later. Let's get into it. So, what's the deal with the 1995 D Lincoln penny? Why is it worth more than a winning lottery ticket? Let me break it down for you. The 1995 D penny is a rare gem due to its minting error. Yep, even the mighty US Mint makes mistakes. Some of these pennies were struck with doubled die obverse errors, meaning the lettering on the front appears slightly doubled. This tiny imperfection turned a humble 1-cent coin into a collector's holy grail. Not every 1995 D penny is valuable, though. You've got to look closely at the "In God We Trust" or Liberty text. If it looks like it's got a shadow or a slightly doubled effect, you're sitting on a gold mine, or should I say, a copper mine. Let me level with you. Not everyone has fancy magnifying tools lying around, right? So, grab a good OL flashlight or even your phone's flashlight and tilt the coin under the light. Look closely at the words. A little double vision here isn't a bad thing, it could mean big bucks. Also, check the condition of the coin. Collectors love shiny, untouched pennies. So, if yours looks like it's been through a blender, it might still be valuable but not a cool $1.40 million. Alright, here's my embarrassing coin story. A few years back, I was cleaning out my car, a true junkyard of fast food wrappers and loose change. I picked up a penny, gave it a quick glance, and thought, meh, just another penny. I was seconds away from tossing it into the take a penny, leave a penny tray at a gas station when I had this nagging feeling. So, I kept it. Fast forward to later that night. I looked it up and found out it wasn't valuable, but it was a close call because I hadn't been checking any of my coins. That little scare turned me into a coin detective. Now, I check every penny, nickel, and dime like my life depends on it. Moral of the story: don't be like me. Check every coin. Who knows what treasure you're sitting on? Let's talk money. Right now, the 1995 D penny with that rare doubling error is worth around $1.4 million in pristine condition. That's right, a single penny could set you up for life. Even if it's not perfect, it could still fetch a smaller fortune at auction.so. Where do you sell one of these treasures? Auctions are the way to go. Big-name auction houses like Heritage Auctions specialize in rare coins. And trust me, if you've got a genuine 1995 D double die penny, collectors will be lining up to bid on it like it's Black Friday. Alright, let's recap. The 1995 D penny is valuable because of a rare minting error. You can spot one by checking for doubled text on the front of the coin, and if it's in great condition, you could be looking at a payday of $1.4 million. And hey, even if you don't find one, the thrill of the hunt is half the fun, right? Before you go running to your coin jar, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin enthusiasts. I've got more tips, tricks, and stories coming your way, so you won't want to miss out. Who knows? The next video might just help you find the $1 million coin of your dreams. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Now, go check your pennies and remember, even the smallest coin could lead to the biggest treasure. Imagine finding a dusty old penny in your junk drawer and discovering it's worth $1.5 million. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Well, it's not. It's the story of the 1962 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny. This little copper beauty could be your golden ticket, and you don't even know it yet. Stick around because we're diving deep into why this coin is worth a fortune and how you might just have one hiding in plain sight. Hi, I'm Jake, your coin enthusiast buddy, here to turn the loose change into loose chains of cash. Let's jump right in. So, what's the big deal about the 1962 D-Mint Mark penny? First off, let's break it down. The D stands for Denver, where it was minted. Now, the 1962 pennies themselves aren't particularly rare. Billions were made. But what makes this coin a millionaire's dream are the errors and unique characteristics. Coin errors are like typos in a book, except people pay millions for them. Go figure, one of the most famous errors is the double die. Imagine Lincoln looking like he has a shadow following him. Another is the misaligned die, where the penny's image is slightly off-center, making it look like the coin went on a wild night out. Speaking of wild nights, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his garage, doing my good deed for the year. He handed me this old coffee tin filled with pennies. I thought, great, now I'm the family piggy bank. But as I sifted through, I spotted a 1962 D penny that looked a little off. My heart skipped a beat. Was this the jackpot? Long story short, it wasn't. But it sparked my obsession with hunting down rare coins. Moral of the story, always check your loose change, you never know what's lurking in your wallet. Okay, back to the juicy stuff. The 1962 D penny's current market value is $1.5 million, but only if it's in pristine condition. That's what collectors call mint state. Think of it like a new car, no scratches, no dents, just pure shiny perfection. Coins with significant errors, like doubling or misprints, also fetch higher prices. Even if yours isn't mint, don't give up hope. Lesser grades can still be worth a pretty penny, pun intended. Honestly, I used to think pennies were just those annoying coins that cluttered my car cup holder. Now, I treat them like little treasures. You'd better believe I'm that person in the grocery store inspecting every penny I get in change. Who knows? That cashier might accidentally hand you $1 million coin. Here's the $1 million question: how do you spot one of these rare gems? Start by checking the date and mint mark. You want 1962 D below Lincoln's portrait. Then, look closely for any unusual features, doubling, misalignments, or strange textures. A magnifying glass is your best friend here. Pro tip: you can grab one of those cheap jeweler's loupes online. Trust me, it's worth the investment. Found a 1962 D penny that looks promising? First, don't freak out, okay, maybe freak out a little. Then, get it appraised by a professional. Coin dealers and grading services like PCGS or NGC can give you an official evaluation. And if it's the real deal, you might just be one step closer to early retirement. So, let's sum it up. The 1962 D Lincoln penny might look like your average coin, but with the right errors or perfect condition, it could be worth $1.5 million. Whether it's hiding in your spare change, an old piggy bank, or that random coffee tin in your garage, it's worth taking a closer look. Remember, one penny could change your life, literally. Now, here's the deal. If you're as fascinated by rare coins as I am, hit that subscribe button and join our treasure hunting community. I post weekly videos about coins worth money, tips to spot valuable currency, and how to turn pocket change into a fortune. Don't forget to like, share, and drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin or if you're about to go raid your junk drawer. Hey there, treasure hunters. Have you ever glanced at the loose change in your pocket and wondered if one of those humble pennies might be worth more than your car? Well, buckle up because today we're diving into the story of a coin that's made collectors' jaws drop, the 1973 D-Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, this tiny copper coin is turning heads in the numismatic world with a jaw-dropping value of $1.6 million. That's right, 1 cent that could change your life. So stick around because I'm going to tell you why this penny is worth a fortune, what makes it so special, and how you might just stumble upon one of these golden, copper tickets in your own collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Okay, let's start with the basics. The D on this penny stands for Denver, where it was minted. Now, in 1973, millions of these pennies were made, so why is this one worth a cool $1.6 million? It all comes down to rarity and errors. Imagine you're baking cookies, and one batch comes out a little wonky. Instead of tossing them, those mistakes suddenly become gourmet. That's what happened with this coin. A very small number of these pennies were struck with a unique error that made them invaluable to collectors. The error? A doubling in the design, known as a double die. This makes parts of the lettering and imagery look like they've been stamped twice. It's subtle, but for collectors, it's like finding a unicorn. Now, here's a funny story. When I first got into coin collecting, I was convinced every coin in my pocket was a rare treasure. I remember spending an entire afternoon scrutinizing my coins with a magnifying glass. My neighbor walked in, took one look at me, and asked if I was auditioning for CSI, Coin Division. Spoiler alert, I didn't find anything worth more than 25 cents that day. But it just goes to show, you never know when that next coin might be the one. The thrill of the hunt is half the fun. So, how do you know if you're sitting on one of these million-dollar pennies? First, grab a magnifying glass or a smartphone with a good zoom. Check the coin's condition. Serious collectors are after pennies in near-perfect shape. Next, look closely at the date and lettering. If you see signs of doubling, especially on the word Liberty or the numbers in the year, you might be in luck. And don't forget to flip it over. The reverse side could also show doubling. Now, before you go cashing in your 401k to buy up every 1973 D penny on eBay, a quick heads up, condition matters a lot. The $1.6 million value is for a top-tier specimen, graded as MS68. For those new to coin lingo, MS stands for mint state, and 68 means it's nearly flawless. Coins with scratches or wear might still fetch hundreds or thousands, but not the big bucks. Here's another fun fact. The world of coin collecting is like high-stakes poker, but with shinier chips. Serious collectors will pay astronomical amounts for rare coins to complete their collections. And the 1973 D penny is like the crown jewel. It's a rare find that's become a status symbol in the numismatic community. And get this, one of these coins recently sold at auction for $1.6 million. Can you imagine walking into an auction house with a penny and walking out with enough cash to buy a mansion? Talk about an upgrade. Now you're probably thinking, how do I get my hands on one of these magic pennies? Well, the good news is they're out there, you just have to know where to look. Start by digging through old coin jars, piggy banks, or even that junk drawer everyone has. Estate sales, flea markets, and coin shops are also great places to hunt. And don't overlook pocket change. Some of the rarest coins have been found in circulation. Pro tip: invest in a good coin reference book or download an app to help identify valuable coins. It's like having a treasure map in your pocket. Alright, folks, that's the story of the 1973 D Lincoln penny, a tiny piece of history that could make you a millionaire. Who knew a little copper coin could pack such a punch? Now it's your turn. Start checking your change, scour those coin jars, and maybe, just maybe, you'll strike it rich. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting coins worth big money, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends. You never know who might have a rare penny sitting in their pocket right now. Hey there, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters. Did you know that a humble 1972 no-mint mark Ibrahim Lincoln penny, yes, the kind you might have tossed into a vending machine or ignored in your car's cup holder, could be worth a staggering $1.7 million today? That's right, this tiny copper coin has the potential to turn you into a millionaire. Before you start rummaging through your couch cushions, stick around because in this video, we're diving into what makes this penny so valuable, how to identify one, and who knows, you might just find a fortune in your spare change jar. And hey, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because I'm here to help you turn pocket change into life-changing money. Let's get started. Alright, so what's the deal with the 1972 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? First, let's break it down. This penny was minted in Philadelphia, which explains the absence of a mint mark. Philly coins often skip the mint mark because, well, they like to keep it casual. But what makes this specific penny so special isn't where it was minted, it's all about a crazy mistake that happened during production. The 1972 no mint mark penny shot to fame thanks to a minting error called a double die obverse. Basically, during the production process, the die, the tool used to stamp the design onto the coin, shifted slightly. The result? Letters and numbers on the front of the penny, like Liberty and In God We Trust, look doubled, almost like the coin had one too many drinks at a party. Why does this error matter? Coin collectors are absolutely obsessed with unique imperfections. To them, this double die obverse is like finding a Picasso painting in your attic. The most pristine examples of this error, graded as MS65 or higher, are the ones fetching $1.7 million at auctions today. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was cleaning out an old drawer, and I found a pile of pennies. Naturally, I ignored them because, hey, it's just pennies, right? But then I remembered hearing about these rare Erorr coins. I grabbed a magnifying glass and started inspecting each one. Lo and behold, I found nothing. But the experience taught me how fun and rewarding coin hunting can be. Plus, now I have an excuse to hoard pennies like a dragon guarding gold. Here's what you need to look for. Check the year. It has to be 1972.no mint mark under the date. Grab a magnifying glass or, if you're like me, zoom in with your phone camera. Look closely at the letters and numbers on the obverse, front, of the coin. If you see doubling, you might have struck gold or copper, in this case, common 1972 pennies. Worth 1 cent slightly worn double die Erorr pennies? $300 to $500. Mint condition double die pennies graded MS65 or above? That's where the $1.7 million jackpot comes in. You might be wondering, why would anyone shell out millions for a penny? It's all about rarity and history. Only a small number of these Erorr coins were made, and even fewer are in near perfect condition today. Coin collectors, especially those with deep pockets, love owning a piece of history that tells a story. So, there you have it, the 1972 no mint mark Lincoln penny that could be worth $1.7 million. Next time you're sorting through loose change, take a closer look. Who knows? That humble penny in your pocket could be your ticket to a life-changing windfall. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor, smash the like button and share this video with your friends and family. Who knows? You might help someone else find their hidden treasure. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more tips, tricks, and stories about coins worth big money. Hello, fellow treasure hunters and penny enthusiasts. Have you ever found a penny in your pocket and thought, could this tiny coin change my life? Well, today, we're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping stories in the world of coin collecting, the 2007 D-Mint mark Ibrahim Lincoln penny, a humble 1-cent coin now valued at a staggering $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million penny. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, sure, that'll happen to me right after I win the lottery, stick around. I've got the full scoop on why this coin is so valuable, what makes it special, and how you just might stumble upon your own piece of history. Plus, I'll share a little story about the time I almost threw away a potentially valuable penny. Spoiler, it's a story of regret and late-night Google searches. Let's start with the basics, the 2007 D-Mint mark penny. It's a part of the Lincoln Memorial series, featuring good ol' Honest Abe on the front and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the back. These coins were minted in Denver, hence the D-Mint mark, and they're pretty common, right? You've probably seen a dozen of them in your lifetime. But this particular penny is anything but common. The magic lies in a rare error. During the minting process, a few pennies were struck using the wrong planchet or blank coin disc. Instead of using the usual copper-plated zinc planchet, a few rogue pennies were minted on leftover bronze planchets from 1982. This mistake makes the coin an ultra-rare collector's item. Think of it like finding a Picasso painting at a garage sale, but here's the kicker, these errors are nearly impossible to spot with the naked eye. You'd need to weigh the coin, bronze planchets are slightly heavier, or get it professionally graded by an expert. So, yes, this coin is a tiny, shiny needle in a massive haystack. But hey, someone's gotta find it, why not you? The first 2007 D penny with this error showed up at an auction in 2013, shocking collectors worldwide. It sold for $1.8 million, and the story made headlines. Since then, collectors have been scouring their change in hopes of finding another. Imagine the excitement of realizing that a penny you've been ignoring for years could actually pay off your mortgage. That's the dream, isn't it? Now, let me share my own not-so-glorious penny tale. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my car, a treasure chest of fast food receipts, gum wrappers, and yes, coins. I grabbed a handful of pennies and thought, these are probably worthless, and tossed them into a Coinstar machine. Later that night, I stumbled upon an article about rare pennies and froze. Could I have just turned a fortune into grocery store credit? I'll never know, but let me tell you, every penny I've touched since then gets inspected like it's applying for a passport. Lesson learned: never underestimate small change. If you're now frantically checking your wallet, here's what you need to know. First, look for the year, 2007. Then, check for the D-Mint mark, which will be on the lower right side of Lincoln's portrait. Next, weigh the penny. If it's heavier than 2.5 grams, you could have something special. Finally, if you suspect you've got a winner, send it to a professional coin grading service. Yes, it'll cost you a bit up front, but the payoff could be life-changing. And here's a pro tip: don't just focus on pennies. Rare coins pop up in all denominations. Nickels, dimes, quarters, heck, even dollar coins could be hiding a fortune. Coin collecting is like a never-ending treasure hunt, and the thrill of the chase is half the fun. So, there you have it, the incredible story of the 2007 D-Mint mark penny that went from pocket change to million-dollar jackpot. Who knew that a tiny coin could carry such a huge value? This just goes to show that the smallest things in life can sometimes hold the biggest surprises. And now, here's my challenge to you: go through your change jars, wallet, or that weird cup holder in your car and start hunting. Who knows? You might be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it. And if you do find something amazing, promise me you'll let me know in the comments. I love hearing about coin hunting success stories. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips and stories about valuable coins, how to spot them, and why some are worth so much. Trust me, you don't want to miss out. Your next lucky penny might just pay for your dream vacation.